Hello, my name is Daniel. This is my good friend.
I'm Alan. Hi.
That is Alan. Today, we're going to be exploring some cool stuff you can do on Pro Music Lab and how it relates to real instruments. So, we're heading on over to the rhythm section. You can tell because it's got this pink monkey with a big drum. That looks to me like a timpani. What do you think, Alan?
Yeah, I would say timpani.
And while that is enticing and very exciting, and we will have time to explore that later, what we're going to focus on today are these two little blue monsters playing the drums. You see them, Alan?
Oh yeah, I'm on them. You just got to hit the right click button once.
So what's really cool about these guys is they're playing on parts of a drum set, and I'm a drum set player, so that makes me very happy. So if you take a look at this yellow disc, if you click on the drums, they'll actually play them, which is really fun. So this yellow disc is called the hi-hat. This blue drum is the snare drum, and this red drum is the floor tom, but it's kind of mimicking a bass drum, which we're going to see. Down here on the grid, we have 3 rows, and our very top row represents the hi-hat. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a basic rock beat, we call it. So step 1 is you add a hi-hat all on the top row. Those are eighth notes for those of you who are familiar with them. Next, what we're going to do is we're going to add a bass drum that's on the bottom row, and we're just going to add it on these 2 lines. That represents beat 1, 2, 3. Beats 1 and 3. And then that's going to sound like this. And then we're just going to add in a snare drum on the beats that the bass drum isn't happening on, right? So again, there will be these big lines. That's beat 2, big line, beat 4 for those who are familiar. If you're not familiar, you can just take a look at this picture, or you can just kind of mess around with it. We'll get there. But that's how you make a basic rock beat out. But the cool thing about this is that you can experiment with a bunch of different shapes and sounds and see what you get. For example, if you're a really big fan of Queen, you might want to start off with this, and you get We Will Rock You, and then expand onto some more ideas and kind of make it your own, like this. So as the drummer, I'm going to head down to my drum set where I'm going to play things, and my good friend Alan is going to try to challenge me by coming up with rhythms all on his own. You ready to go?
Oh, I'm ready.
All right. More power to you.
Okay, so I have a completely blank slate here. So we're just going to try and make up some things to make Daniel's life a little harder, but I think this will be pretty fun to mess with. So I think I want that bass drum happening every single big line, just so we kind of have an idea of tempo, make it a little easier on Dan to start. And then let's see, we can also, the good thing is if we don't like anything, we can always just deselect it, but I kind of want to see what this would sound like. So I put all of the hi-hat and of the bass drums on the bottom, and I have all the snare drums on the off beats from that. So I want to kind of see what that sounds like. So let's see how that sounds. Let's see what Dan can do with that. Okay, so obviously Dan blew that out of the water. That was pretty easy for him. That wasn't that bad. Now let's try something a little more challenging. Maybe let's do, I kind of want to play with the hi-hat a little bit. Let's see what that sounds like, just the hi-hats. Okay, so that's kind of outlining a little 3. That's kind of cool. What if we did, maybe I want the bass drum. Well, we just did the bass drum on all the beats. Maybe we'll add one there. And then the snare drums like this. Let's see what that sounds like. Okay, I think that sounds kind of cool. All right, Dan, this one, it may not be as hard for you, but I think it'll sound cool. And I want to hear what it sounds like on a real instrument. So let's try this one. Okay, so obviously Daniel is a master at the drum set. This wasn't much of a challenge for him, but either way, it's very nice to just explore and see like what you can do. And obviously from hearing Dan, it's not that much different. It's like you're being able to play on a real instrument if you don't have it available. So it's kind of cool. So what you can also do, obviously like we saw when we first opened, these two blue monster people aren't the only things we have on here. We started out, we had these 2 monkeys on the timpani and the triangle you could play around with. Obviously, we have our drum set monkeys. Then we have these two horn-looking monsters. They're playing some like woodblocks, claves, some interesting sounds there. And then we even have this looks like birds, maybe I don't even
Yeah,
know,
chickens,
but
perhaps? I don't know.
maybe. Well, they're playing the congas and the cowbell. So we have a ton of different sounds you can play around with, and I think that's going to be the next thing for you guys to look at. Just explore, move on from the drum set thing, see what sounds you can play around with and what rhythms you can make.
All right, sounds good. We'll see you tomorrow.
See you tomorrow.